Coming up next on BBC Two, it's the BradWOTO stream, but first, it's time for What Picture Has Bradley Drawn Onto a Piece of Paper?
Ladies and gentlemen, it is finally time. Time to guess what he am drawing onto a paper today for you. Just then, during the intro, in about 6 minutes.
What did I just draw? Very quickly. WWE Superstar Edge. Superstar. Wenches Willy Crest. 1 Heinz Baked Beans. A banana. A roasting skull. Wench Fairy. Witcher! Is his name Monkey Luffy? What a ridiculous name. What a ridiculous name. Take that ridiculous thing off of your head. Let's see if you can guess what I drew on a piece of paper today. You think it was WWE Superstar Edge or a crest for the Wenches Willy? Clue was in the title. Clue was in the title. I very quickly drew Zorn or Thorn. I think Thorn? From Final Fantasy IX. Didn't have time to draw the other one. This is their music that plays in the game. Which I always thought sounded like Inspector Gadget. Don't you think? Same song. The same song. Who are the faces in the background on the vote screen? One is Murgles and one is PB. PB on the left with Steve Buscemi's eyes. Murgles on the right with Steve Buscemi's eyes and a giant forehead. Hi everyone, welcome to the stream. Decided to stream today because I took yesterday off. It was a very last minute decision. I had some stuff that I had to do. That I jumped in on. At the last moment, just before the stream started, and I thought, oh well, it's fuck, everything's fucked now, isn't it? You know when your whole day just fucking just falls apart right at the beginning, and I was like, all right, well, forget it. I won't stress myself out. I'll just do this other shit first. I hate streaming on Saturdays, but here we are. I've got nothing planned. I also had nothing planned for yesterday. My original plan yesterday was to play Deadlock or whatever, but you can't stream it. I didn't realize you couldn't stream that game. There's I don't know, like an NDA or whatever type thing over it, an embargo of some sort. So I thought today we just fuck around, maybe watch some videos, chat some shit, and then later on. Thing is, I've got to run 2 D&D sessions. I'm currently running 3 D&D sessions a week. One on a Tuesday called Cura, and to be fair, that one gets all of my attention. I put way more effort into that than the other 2 combined. Don't get me wrong, but it's still 3 sessions. Tonight on Table Story, I'm running the 2nd episode of a 3-part special of Oracle's Rest. Now, what's going to happen? Don't know. Did anything happen last week? No. Will there be a conclusion to the story that we're telling? Probably not. But you get to see 3 episodes. So that's on tonight at 8 p.m. UK time, which is 3 p.m. Eastern. All the Americans are like, why do you run them so early? Because it's fucking 8 p.m. for me. I'm knackered by the time I start it. And then tomorrow we are going to continue with The Legend of Gary. A completely randomized game. Utterly and totally unprepped. Although saying that, tomorrow Gary does have to fight Boona Velza. Gary does have to fight whatever that creature is called. Boona Velza. Molmoth. An ice Bulezau. Who has special ice properties. So I did actually go into a slight bit of prep. Technically. By creating a new monster. Kind of. They're probably going to get to the big boss battle at the end of the 3rd session. Yeah. And like, by the way, combat in Oracle's Rest takes so long. I've been trying to think for years how to slimline it. I feel like maybe I should just take away bonus actions. There's so many of them. You get an action. And you can use the things that you would use a bonus action for as an action. But I just feel like it would completely cripple the architecture of the game, right? It's just insane to do. I don't know how to do it. I watched the 1st episode of Oracles and then re-watched it because couldn't remember how it ended. Still don't remember how it ended. They selected a quest. That was it. That's all they did. No bonus action? Yeah, like you can use your bonus actions, but you get one. You can do one thing on your turn. And that's it. So you'd still have the things that you can do in your bonus action, but there would be an action to use it. But there's no way it would work. But everyone's turn takes so long. Like, it takes so long. It's the only downside. Like, I wish there was a way for me to make D&D, like, to make combat quicker. oracles because I just have no idea how to. Because there's so many of them and everyone's turn takes fucking 20 minutes because everyone sucks at playing D&D, myself included. It gets around to their turn and they're like, I think I'll cast a spell. The spell what spell do I want to cast? I think I'll cast... Let me just read what this does. Action... I'll cast Therapy Hour. And that's one action in a 30-foot radius. Oh, that's 30 foot. How far away is he? 60 feet. Well, that's too far away from me, isn't it? Think before it's your turn. The problem is, you can't because stuff changes. You know? I was going to do that, but then on the last the turn before me, everyone moved. So, that's changed my whole plan. I've got to come up with what else I'm going to do instead. And so you get through 12 of those before your turn in Oracle's Rest. It takes an hour for it to come back around to you. I don't know how to fix it, really, other than to make... There's just no way around it, because it's like I could make the combats smaller and more frequent, or like, you know, like instead of it being one big combat, I split it up over many different parts. But then not everyone gets a turn. So for some people, it's just no point in playing. Like Ratch. If Ratch didn't get a turn in combat, there'd be no reason for him to even be there. He's only there to kill things. That's all he wants to do. He's only there for combat. He doesn't care what the players are saying to each other. The person who gets to the end of the line at the coffee shop and then starts to think about their order, is everyone playing D&D? Yeah. Add cats. Add microtransactions, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Lots of players in D&D how to make combat faster. Encourage your players to act and decide quickly. The 44. There we go. My tips for speeding up combat with over 300 sessions DMing. I wonder how many I've done. You can probably calculate it. Well, you can't because you can't calculate any offline stuff I've done, but most of my games have been online. Ditch the grid. Use zones or theatre of the mind for smaller inconsequential fights. That's not going to work. Show initiative order. They've already got that. It doesn't help at all. Also remind players when they're on deck. It's your turn, Sarah, you're up next. I've got enough stuff to do. If you don't know it's your turn, Sarah, you're out of the game. Glass cannon opponents. Don't be afraid to let your monsters die quickly. Yeah, I mean, I don't really... You know, that only works somewhat. Tell players the AC of the monsters. If they hit them... I tell them the AC is 17. Okay. Tell players the dex... Tell players the saving throw DC. Okay, I mean, I don't care about that. Use average dice damage. You don't have to tell players you're doing this. Maybe have it do half damage. Okay, so just no point in playing. Have players roll damage with the attack. If they know the AC, it's faster. I mean, that's true. I should just have them do that. I'm going to do that. Give them the AC so they can just roll the damage if they know. Use a digital dice tool to do the quick maths. Use fewer enemies, but then not everyone gets a turn. Study your monsters before the encounter. Give them a timer. 44 rules of lower monster HP. They're just going to kill them and then not everyone gets a turn. Simplify the monster stat block. I don't generally put stuff in that's too confusing anyway. Cut down on narration. Yeah, Decide monster actions. Encourage players to consider their moves. Know your ACs. None of this is going to help me. I can give them the AC. I think that might be useful, but... Every second players decide on what they do, they take 1 damage. Well, that's fine. If you're a barbarian, you just have to hit something. Whereas if you're a wizard, you've got so much to read. Theory of the mind is what my DM does, and it's awful. I'm the annoying player asking how far things are because my mind doesn't have any spatial awareness. This is the problem, yeah. You end up with 2 different types of people at the table, and anyone who's neurodivergent cannot handle theory of the mind.
I need to know precisely how far away the enemy is.
But also, you're describing so much for a combat for 13 players. There's no way around it. What's this guy got to say?
The Player's Handbook is mostly about the many ways to attack stuff in a fantasy world. So it's obvious why combat can take up
This
most
is what would
of
happen if me and Noodle combined into one person.
your game time. Hey, what's your strength modifier? Oh, what's your spell save DC again? Wait, what does grapple even do? And the classic. I swing my sword and... Okay, carry the... 7. When we all want more game time to explore those fantasy worlds and have fun, sometimes non-violent interactions with their people. So in this video, I'm going to give you 4 tips and tricks for keeping your combat fast and fun. Now roll initiative.
More fun together.
Hi, Bob here, and welcome
Hi,
to
Bob.
Bob World Builder.
Hi, Bob.
Hit that subscribe button for weekly guides and D&D tips
I will not.
to make our games more fun
I won't do
together.
that, Bob.
And in the spirit of togetherness, we are joined this week...
Here's a video for 2 times speed. Rarely do I watch a video on 2 times speed.
by Mark and Gonzo from Dungeon Class, another fun-focused D&D channel to share one of their top tips.
He's now speaking at normal pace.
And I saved one of my best tips for their video, so be sure to check it out after this one, link in the description. So counting down, number 4 for smoother combat is fight to live, instead of fighting to the death. The Player's Handbook states that hit points represent a combination of a creature's durability or stamina, their willpower, and their luck. So while reaching 0 HP doesn't even necessarily mean death, most creatures are going to run away well before their hit points run out. Especially if a player character deals massive damage or starts casting spells, because who knows what else that spellcaster could be capable of. But the best part about fighting to live is it often leads to exciting, dangerous chase scenes that could... Wait a minute. Much better. Exciting, dangerous chase scenes that could attract the attention of even more dangerous creatures. However, fight and flight aren't the only options. When that bandit throws their weapon aside and surrenders, your PCs have to make an important decision about what to do with this guy. Do they let him go? Do they tie him up and leave him? Do they derail their entire quest to drop him off at the nearest town guard, or just take the easy and evil way out? Surrendering, running away, and seeking help are all more interesting options than slowly whittling away at hit points. But what if I told you a zombie doesn't have to have all 22 of those hit points? That's right. Tip number 3 is tweak the numbers. The numbers in a stat block
A zombie does have to have all 22 of those hit points because a zombie comes back
represent
to
the
life
normal
after you
statistics for a
kill it.
creature. You can change them however you want, and if you want to keep your combat fast and fun, try lowering enemy HP and AC, or increasing
I used to know a
attack.
DM that would just... He wouldn't tell his players that he did this, but he would just decide when they'd won himself. So you'd all be coming up with stuff to do and like killing stuff, and then when he felt like the creature was dead, he would just tell you it was dead. No.
Dropping total HP makes combat faster, whether or not you're fighting to the death, and you can even create super low HP minions that go down in one hit. For
I've fluffed a couple things here and there where I'm like, oh, they're going to kill it, and I'm bored. This is just boring. I'm not going through another 4 turns for them to kill it. And I go, yeah, you kill it. How? Every now and then, but Very rarely.
cinematic combat. Plus, changing AC and attack bonuses means fewer misses and more hits. DMs, players, nobody likes to miss during combat, and sure, you can still describe every miss as a glancing blow, but unless you're rolling damage, that combat does not progress on that turn. Tweaking the numbers can also be a fun world-building exercise by making you consider
tweak
why
the numbers,
is
yeah.
transitions. Oh, wait, that's the tip in Dungeon Classes video. So instead, here's Mark and Gonzo to share a surprising tip for speeding up your game, appointing an assistant dungeon master.
I've got that. It's
Thanks,
called
Bob.
ChatGPT.
Another way that you can make combat faster in Dungeons & Dragons is to use someone what we call an assistant dungeon master. Mark, we both know that there's people that sometimes don't always want to play the game. They may be not interested.
I try this, and I'd like you to tune into every episode of Cura where I go, hey, Orcish, hey, Maya, can you figure this out? And they go, yeah, we'll do it. And then they don't, and I have to do it anyway. Next. Is that it?
Just
Be
like
prepared. All right, no one's got any good advice for me here. There is no way. What we've learned is you can't speed up combat. You have to accept that it is gruelingly slow. It cannot be done. And if anything, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna make it longer. I'm gonna figure out how to make the combat even longer. Tune into Oracle's Rest, where there may or may not be any combat. They don't do anything. There are 20 players. It's just a ridiculous amount of players. It's so stupid. This is what happens when you're a people pleaser and you can't say no, and people are like, can I play on your D&D campaign, players? And you're like, no, you can't. I'd love to have you in the game. Yeah, we play on Saturdays. Make a character. Can I play? No, you can't. Yeah, sure. You wouldn't have this problem if you were playing Minecraft. You wouldn't steal your nan. You wouldn't download a D&D party. Everyone can take double the amount of actions during a combat turn. Everyone is hasted. Play Minecraft. You don't need to ask me twice. I'm installing it right now. Installed. We're playing Minecraft tonight. Play D&D in Minecraft. Combine all the same type players into a horde. A swarm of players. George R.R. Martin. A swarm of players. Apparently narrated by Richard E. Grant. My name is Richard E. Grant. And I laughed. I cheered. I fist pumped the air. Shit, I could do. I mean, look at this. The min-maxers. Giving the min-maxers another action would just make it the most painful thing for everyone else at the table. Ratch, Maya, Orcish. Who else have we got that's fucking impossible to play? I think that'd be it. It'd be those three. And then you've got the sort of day walkers like Greg and Whack. And me. That's what I am. I'm what I would call a day walker. Every now and then I'm like, but what if I did do 54 damage on this turn? But what if I did try? I did it with Tithe there. Every now and then I'd be like, but what if I saw what Ty was capable of? Just for my own curiosity. Holy shit. He does what? How much damage? And Cord would be like, okay. You've destroyed my beloved NPC. What do you do? How do you kill him? I did it in Orcish Star Wars game as well. I went out of my way to do it in Orcish's campaign because he did it in Rota. Because he showed up and played Anakin in Rota. So I was like, oh, okay. I'm just going to play a sniper, soldier sniper, with all of my points put into heavy weapons. And I would just... We had... How many people played? 7 or 8? None of them did anything in combat ever. I killed everything in the entire campaign. It would just be everyone's turn and then I'd kill it. Everyone's turn and then I'd kill it. And it wouldn't be a kill steal. I would do 100% of the damage. All Jet did was describe Mage Hand. I loved your descriptions in Spellwind. It was fun. But yeah, Ty wasn't min-maxed at the beginning. It's just that a rogue fighter is bullshit even if you sort of hinder them and give them a handicap in terms of, you know, some stuff. Like I gave him a feat that was the whichever feat gives you like 1 int and 3 cantrips or something like that. And I did some funky stuff with his stats. So he wasn't like fully min-maxed, but he was pretty close. And it's just like rogues are just annoying. You can literally, it's almost impossible not to be annoying as a rogue. Yeah, whatever that is, apprentice spellcaster thing, yeah. Which is stupid. He had no int, and I couldn't even use one of the spells, like the cantrip that I took. I think it was Booming Blade. I think everyone who's ever taken Booming Blade misunderstands what it does until halfway through the campaign. And so I just stopped using it because it was not actually as effective to use Booming Blade if I just used just my attacks instead by the end. But yeah, he was pretty strong by the end regardless. 100% true, yeah. Have you played Baldur's Gate? I've never heard of it. What is that? I keep Fairlight was my favourite min-maxer. It was an art form. Well, and yeah, but I mean that's just what he does. That's his whole everything. That's his personality. He is the tryhard. That's why you hire him. It's exclusively why he got picked to be the main character in Mistlight. Because I was like, I'm having a main character for this campaign. Which is a disgusting thing to say, but I was like, that's what I'm doing. That's the approach here. So you need to be strong. We can't just have some fuck around. Some guy who's gonna fuck around all day. Greg. Cord. We need someone who's actually gonna fucking just crush. And so that's how we got Will. Green Flame Blade. But even that wouldn't have been as effective with TIE fighter rogue shit. What's this?
On the moon, I am
100
standing there on the moon, opening my bag, and I pull out a jar of mayo, and I want to throw the jar of mayo at the other ship.
Okay.
Stella's a bit of a chaos animal. I mean, she brought so much chaos into the last thing. The clip of Stella. That Mathis picked up from Table Story. I wonder if I can quickly find it. Which one is it? It's one of these Mathis ones.
Might give it just a little lick. Just a little one.
Yeah, okay, I guess. Make me a
I
charisma
approve.
check.
Are you trying to get sick?
Hope
I'll
I
allow
get
it.
a 20 here. Oh shit!
The building responds to your desires. You can tell. I never know what to do in those situations, so I'm just like, you think, I guess. I just say the building responds to your desires. Which one is it? This one. Is it this one? What is it? What does it look like? I asked her what the
What's the
Jack Stone looks like.
Rating of this stream.
I'd be surprised if Whack lets us keep the VOD. I'll be honest.
It's a flexible
Stop!
Read.
Stop!
If you guys go to Bad Dragon,
It's a bad dragon.
Is it pink and wireless?
As long as we're accommodating the visual learners.
I can't believe it took people an hour to tell me that some people were doubled up on audio, by the way. Hey, viewers. Why do you guys have to come in here and say the most annoying shit all day, but you don't just say, hey, by the way, why is it doubled? Why is the audio doubled? Guys, how did it take you an hour to tell me that some of the audio was doubled? Guys, come on. Guys, come on. Also, Lux. Do you feel good inside? Is it just me or Sleth, 2-year streak. What's up, my friend? How you doing? Thank you for the 24-month far. Hi Theory. What did I draw today? I drew hold on, I've got to do it again. It must be done. You might not even know what this is. I drew Zorn or Thorn. I think this is Thorn. Is Thorn in red? And I drew it right as the stream was beginning, because I was outside. These fucking people, Lux. These fucking people, man, that come in here. Hi, can I just promote some shit? No? Okay, bye. And then they get upset. Get them out of my sight, Lux. Every single one of them. You know who Lux is? Sir Gregor. And I'm Cersei. Sir Gregor and I'm Cersei. If you ever wonder what the stream looks like. It's this.
You wish you were Cersei.
Alright. Patch face or whatever the fuck. We decided you were. Is it called patch face? Who's Kyburn? Probably Wax Steven. Now, who does weird experiments? Cord. Cord is Kyburn. Just doing weird experiments in the basement. Modding shit. Modding humans to become Sir Gregor. We've been working on it for weeks now. It's been pretty much predominantly all we've spoken about while we've played PUBG each evening. Figuring out which character is who. Who is PB? It's still up for debate. I'm sort of on team she's the red woman, Lady Melisandre. Weird sort of cult leading but has magic abilities. You know? We went with that. But we're still, it's still, that one's still in open. That one hasn't been locked in, I would say. That one hasn't been locked in. Not like Patch Face or whatever. What was the other one that we said that you were, Leah? Just some little fucking psychotic violent thing. Is what Leah is. Borderline feral. She's just one of the dragons, is what Leah is. She's Viserion. Tyrion? Nah, you ain't Tyrion. You're too good at FPS games. I'm Jon Snow, King of the North. You're a disgrace. You could not be further away from the main character of that entire series. Tyrion did kill his dad with a crossbow, that's true. Am I Tyrion? No, I think they came up. I'm the Hound. Was what we decided on for me. Just an absolute prick who's just roasting and shit talking everyone all day, and then you find out that he was extremely traumatized, and actually you kind of warmed to him in the end. Have I still got it loaded up?
Ariel?
Bring me one of those chickens.
You got money to pay for it?
You paid for it?
No.
My tavern, that was my tavern simulator intro. Who is Aaron? Aaron is either Aaron is Ned Stark. Lovable, honorable, but ultimately just gets fucked over. But has a military background. Dave is Princess Shireen Baratheon. Aaron, Davos fits Aaron pretty well. Only cunts title their streams. Give me one of them chickens. Orcish is Hodor. Who's that kid that nobody liked? Maya. Oh, in the show? Dunno. Could be anyone. I got to the bit. I'm finally on season 7. Caught up with Orcish. And I finally got to this. Because Orcish sent me a message last night at 2:25 AM. That says season 7 is when things start to go too quickly. It's just so jarring after the rest of the show is so well paced. Because we've been talking about... Obviously, the first time I watched Game of Thrones, I watched it weekly. And... I was wondering, basically, how jarring it's going to feel once you get past season 4 and then get past season 6, right? Because 1 to 4 is fucking solid. 5 and 6 were okay. 7 is bad. 8 is one of the worst travesties to ever happen to any TV show or any series or whatever. And I wondered how much worse and how much more noticeable it would be when you watch the whole thing in one go rather than watching it over the course of like 8 years. You get 10 hours a year. And I've already noticed it. Season 7 was mental. And it starts straight away. I sent because I'm a couple of episodes in, you can tell that they were bored as shit. Like, people... A lot of people blame those two guys, David was his name? Weiss, DB Benioff. Those two blokes. They call them D&D, don't they? They blame them going and making a Star Wars show. But really, everyone was tired. Literally, Kit Harington did an interview like this week where he was just like, everyone was tired. And I get it. They were fatigued. They just wanted to move on. They'd been doing it by that time. If you include pre-production and stuff, these shows were in production for a couple of years before they air the first season. So yeah, the first season came out in 2011, but they were prepping this thing a year before, 2 years before, probably. You know, they were writing it, they were casting people and setting it in motion and financing it and things. So they were working on it for 10 years in total. Everyone is tired. For us, we only get 10 hours of it a year. You know? So we were still well in. But for them, they'd been working on this thing. They'd all been in this show for 10 years. And when you just can't be fucked anymore, it's the worst feeling. I've done it with table story shows where I'm like, I hate this. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm tired of running this show. How long was Seinfeld? I don't know or care. It has no bearing on what I'm saying. And I think they just didn't, they couldn't be bothered anymore. I bet if they could, they'd go back and try a little harder just because of how much they fucked it up. And like, but they all thought they were all going to go off and be the biggest stars in the world and they'd be running the next fucking wave of Marvel movies and shit. And none of them have done shit. We were talking about it the other day. Who's come out of that with a career? Really? Who have you seen in anything? I've seen them in one or two things here and there. The girl that played Miss Ann Days in a couple of Fast and Furious movies. Kit Harington was a bit part in a couple of movies. The only person to come out of it that we could think of was Pedro Pascal. And he's only in one season. And so I just think everyone was just tired and fatigued. And I get it. I've literally done it before. They really tried with Sophie Turner. Jason Momoa, 1 season. Pedro Pascal, 1 season. People who are in it for 1 season. I'm talking about people who are in it for the whole thing. None of them. Emilia Clarke's been in a couple of things. You know. No one's in nothing. They're in nothing. I bet they could, if they could go back, they would have tried a bit harder. But I mean, everyone dropped the ball in that last season. Everyone. And I think they were all knackered. And I've literally, I 100% would have been one of those people as well. If I was Kit Harington, I would have felt the same way. It's just exhausting. And everyone loves it. And you're just like, you just fucking hate it. And you want to be done with it. You're sick of fucking doing this show. You're sick of interviews, of the same fucking interview every week. You're sick of the same fucking thing. You've been doing it for 10 years. You just want a new job. You want to work on something else. And I think they were all like that by the end of it, and that's all that happened. And you can tell, dude. I got into season 7, and I remember the best scene in season 7. You might try and think, like, what happens in season 7? Was that the season where they blow up the Sept? Was that the season with the Battle of the Bastards or whatever? Doesn't matter, because straight up the best scene in that whole thing was, you know what? I'm just gonna find it. How much trouble could I truly get into? It's the best scene. In the whole thing. This one.
You stand in the presence of Daenerys Stormborn of House Targaryen, rightful heir to the Iron Throne, rightful queen of the Andals and the First Men, protector of the Seven Kingdoms, the mother of dragons, the Khaleesi of the Great Grass Sea, the Unburnt, the breaker of chains.
This is Jon Snow.
Dude. Everything about it is so good. The way that Davos, watch his face. The way he does the double take.
This is Jon Snow.
It's the best scene in the whole season. It's so good. That's better than the whole Battle of the Bastards for me from the previous season. Dude. The best scene in the show. Dude, they nailed that one. It's a fucking Marvel scene. It's so stupid, but that's hilarious. Perfect. Yeah, they fucking smashed that one. Ed Sheeran is the worst, dude. That's in the first episode as well, I think, of this 7th season. It's just the most jarring thing to just see Ed Sheeran sat there. You know? They just roll up. You just imagine having fucking Jamie Lannister walk into a room and Nicki Minaj is just sat in the corner. It's so jarring and confusing. It's like that fucking scene in She-Hulk. It just takes you right out of it because all you can see is Ed Sheeran sat there. You can't think about anything else going on. You're just thinking about the fact that Ed Sheeran's just sat there. And then also the whole scene is like just a bunch. It's a shit scene because it's just Arya sat around with a bunch of like just lads from the Lannister army being human, and they were going for the whole that story of World War II where all the blokes played football. The British and the Germans played a game of football and they realised they were just people. Everyone just realised it was just a bloke. They'd been given a gun and told to shoot the other bloke on the other side. And like that's what they wanted to just sort of try and get across in that scene with Ed Sheeran. All these kids are sat around being like, yeah, I just can't wait to go home. I've had a son, but we don't get ravens. And like, you know, the other guy's like, I've made some blackberry wine. That's what I do in my spare time. I'm just a human, just like you. I'm not just a faceless monster. It's the people at the head of this that are the monsters. It's like so on the nose and so shit. The scene itself is terrible, but the whole time you've got Ed Sheeran's gormless face in every shot. In every shot. Even the close shots on Arya have got fucking Ed Sheeran in the foreground. It's fucking weird. He doesn't really do anything wrong in it. He sings a little song and he acts fine. He's got 2 lines, but it takes you so out of it to have Ed Sheeran just cotched in the fucking corner. Yeah. Decisions like that are really weird to me in every TV show. There are 2 actors, 2 Game of Thrones actors in Star Citizen. Yara Greyjoy and Sir Davos. The guy that plays Sir Davos is a good actor. He was in that 3 Body program, 3 Body Problem program with the guy that plays Sam Tarly as well. But he's good. I like him a lot. I sort of rate him. He has some good moments where he gets. They don't give him a lot. They don't give him a lot of moments to truly shine. Because of his character. Sir Davos, he doesn't have, like, he has a son at the beginning and he has, you know, a sort of a surrogate daughter in a way. He sort of sees Shireen as his daughter, but they don't, because he's always constantly being, his character is a character that's being forced to restrain himself at all times, right? But when they let him pop, he pops. There's a moment where, like, it wasn't, I think it's in season 6, where he gets angry at the death of Princess Shireen and they let him fucking break. And he just fucking shouts at her in that, it's just him and Jon Snow and the Red Woman in that room. And he just fucking loses his shit. And you're like, oh damn, he never gets to lose his shit like that. Even when his own son dies, he doesn't get to lose his shit like that. Because he's not allowed, and his whole character is that he's sort of learned his lesson about stepping out of line, right? Because he's missing his fingers and shit. It's cool, man. He's a good actor. I'd love to see him really lead something. Jack Black and Lizzo in Mando. There's a lot of cameos in Mandalorian though. It's just that the Jack Black and Lizzo one was just weirdly egregious because it was like a scene from Alice in Wonderland or something. It just didn't feel very Star Warsy, that episode. I just don't think it was a very good episode overall. But they have like Bill Burr and stuff showing up in Mando. I kind of got over the cameos pretty early on in that. There's quite a few of them. I heard in Giancarlo Esposito was originally meant to just be a guy selling chicken and got them to get them to bring him back for more, just played the character like they had a secret. Is that true? That doesn't seem... it's possible, but Breaking Bad is too well written to be just fucking throwing stuff in. Is that real? They just had him come back, and I suppose you could if you between seasons fold. I can't really remember when he shows up and stuff. But yeah, I guess you could just fold in the bad guy and have him play it. It worked out so well. It's so iconic to have that like chicken salesman. Fucking show up. What do I even Google? I give up. I give up. The most me that gelled the most for me, a sentence, was Sasha Banks in Mandalorian. Yeah, I didn't really know who she was because I don't follow any wrestling anymore. The only time I ever watched wrestling was when I was younger, and my twin brother / cousin, yes, we're Lannisters, yes, we're Targaryen, would make me watch it, but I didn't really know who she was, but yeah, she plays she's like a Death Watch or whatever, isn't she? Any recent shows you have been hooked on? No, I just watched the things that everyone was watching. The last two things I watched that were coming out weekly were House of the Dragon and The Acolyte. Once House of the Dragon ended, I didn't really know what to watch, and it's why I started watching Game of Thrones again, because I was so unwell. I still am, but I'm incredibly well medicated right now, so I can kind of function. But I needed shit to watch. I've been watching Critical Role, but you know, I needed something else to watch, so I started watching Game of Thrones again. I've burned through it pretty quickly. Did you ever watch Westworld? Yeah, I think Westworld season 1 is almost a perfect season of a show. If you just watch season 1 and isolate it away from the rest of it, even though I think there are good parts in the other seasons with decreasing frequency over the course of the few. I heard that they're doing a movie, by the way, like it's coming back, which is strange. But if you watch Westworld season 1, I think it's pretty close to a perfect season. It's unreal. It's just everything about it. You'd name it. In my opinion, I think it's pretty close to perfect. The writing, the music, the presentation, the pacing, just everything. It's fucking so great. But it starts to fall apart pretty quickly. I still enjoyed watching it. I'll watch anything with Evan Rachel Wood in it, just because I'm absolutely fully in love with her as well. But yeah, it's weird. It's weird, but I mean, what do you do? What do you do? I guess stick to the source material better would be an idea, but yeah. They sort of tried. I love the concept of Westworld, but and the fact that they have all the other worlds, don't they? Shogun World and all that stuff, and they all start to like blend together, and it gets out of hand and overruns. It's fun, but I don't know. I don't know how I would fix it. You know, that's the other thing with Westworld. Sometimes I think about it and I don't know how I would go back and fix it. There are obvious ways that you can go back and fix anything, but it's just, it makes sense. Everything that happened in Westworld and the way they went with it all kind of makes sense. It's just, I guess the execution was just bad. Apparently Mike was created because the actor played Saul Goodman was busy at one point. They created Mike as Saul's fixer. Damn. Breaking Bad was pretty heavily improvised. Yeah, that's maybe that's what makes it so good. You'd think that something that's so succinct, that is such a good story. Breaking Bad is fantastic. I watch Breaking Bad. I don't watch a lot of stuff twice, he says, after watching Game of Thrones again this week, but I very rarely watch things twice. But Breaking Bad is like Lost for me, in that it's literally better on the second watch, because you can watch how they're writing everything, and you can watch the color theory, and the most fun thing about Breaking Bad for me is just watching nothing, catalyst, reaction, nothing, catalyst, reaction, nothing, catalyst, reaction, in every scene, in every piece of the writing. They will have someone who's nothing is happening to them, then they have a catalyst, you get cancer, the reaction, become a mob boss. And you can watch it in every element of it. I feel like that's all they did. They just made sure that everything in the writing was represented by that chemistry cycle. It's incredible. And they always have, they will cut to a fucking red, an image of something red, and then 2 scenes later someone dies. You know? It's just stuff like that, like really fun color theory stuff. It's a really fucking good show. And I really enjoyed it on my second watch through because of that. Just watching it and really sort of analyzing it. And I love those character-driven shows. But it's surprising that so much of it is improvised. But then again, look at D&D. This is what I say about when you're watching like a really good D&D show, or you're watching a really good DM or a really good cast of player characters. None of them have got a script. None of them are prepared for what's going to happen, including the DM, because you're rolling dice and these random elements happen. Just a completely random thing is now being flung into the writing process that is creating an outcome that nobody could have predicted, and you can't even subconsciously write in. Because sometimes I'll be writing something and I'll think it's super original, but I'm actually just working off of a subconscious trope that I've picked up after watching so many movies and TV shows and stuff. It's really hard to write something original. Every time you think you've written something original, someone comes into chat and is like, I really enjoyed your, but I read this book and it had the same story. And you're like, okay, great. You know, you create a 3-year project that put heart and soul into, blood, sweat and tears, and then you play Mass Effect and it's the same story. Yeah, it's hard to do, but then, you know, you watch a lot of these. I've run a lot of shows, I've watched a lot of shows, and it's incredible to see how you will get a perfect story at the end of it with character arcs and story arcs and just amazing twists and turns. And it was all improvised for the most part, and it was all, you know, randomized by dice, so it can happen. I'm tempted to watch House of the Dragon, but I don't know if I'm ready to be so disappointed after Game of Thrones finale. I think that's completely fair. I think that's how everyone felt. But I think they're like, I would say House of the Dragon is made up for season 8 so far. It's made up for it. You won't even, it doesn't matter. If you enjoyed most of Game of Thrones, I definitely think House of the Dragon is worth watching, for sure. Do you think the Matrix concept was original? No. The Matrix is just an allegory for Jesus. It's the same story that's in everything ever. Is Lost better on the second watch? Lost is way better on the second watch because you can just Google everything. I remember when Lost was coming out, and I have no interest in hearing out people people's. I don't want to start a flame war, because if you mention Lost, every fucking asshole on the planet has got an opinion about it. And I know that I'm just saying that as I'm giving my opinion, but my name's on the stream, so I'm allowed. It's my stream. I'm allowed to do what I want. I am Joffrey. But like Lost, I love Lost. I think it's great. I understand that it's extremely flawed, especially in the middle. But I'm a big fan of, well, everyone that worked on Lost except for J.J. Abrams. And he didn't work on Lost. He just took all the fucking credit. But if you remember when Lost was coming out, if anyone is old like me, when Lost was coming out, one of the things that was so interesting about Lost is its mystery box storytelling approach, right? It's putting a mystery box in front of you, and we were just all you're stuck watching this thing until you find out the answer to this bizarre element. There's a polar bear, why? You know, there being an extreme version of it, but lots of, I mean, Lost was, how many seasons was Lost? 5? 6? But if it's 6, there's 5 seasons of mystery box telling, no answers, and then 1 season of answers. But it's got you. You're hooked because you want to know the outcome and the story. But when you and that was fun. It was fun to theorize. Yeah, Keeper. It was fun to theorize when it was coming out. But when it's finished and you know all the answers, and you go back and watch it again, you can just immediately Wikipedia the answer for yourself. I watched Lost for a second time years ago now. Me and Emma had only just moved in together. So it was a long time ago. We're going back. It was probably like 2011, 2012. Maybe a little later than that, but probably around then. And because I remember watching it with Emma in our first apartment, and she was watching it for the first time, just enjoying it. And every time something came up, and I was like, oh yeah, what was the smoke monster all about? I would just Google it on my phone. And I would just sit there and read about all of the stuff. Like, there was a lot of interesting stuff as well, like how they made the noise for that monster and stuff. So you get, not just the answer, but also just I was like learning about the way that they made the show and stuff. And it was a really fun watch to just immediately be able to pull the answer on a show like that, where they're presenting so many of these little mystery boxes along the way, and then just be like, bam, what's the answer for that? Oh yeah. And then a lot of it does make sense and pays off, and you recognize that they actually were putting a lot more effort into the writing than I think some people give them credit for. Now, I also think ABC or NBC or whoever was putting it out kind of cucked them. They had so much production issues, and I do think that show doesn't need those middle. There's a couple of seasons where they were like gun to their head, forced to write 2 extra seasons in that it doesn't need. But ultimately, I think it was a really fun show. And I liked that storytelling approach. I've done it a few times. I did it with Miss Light, but didn't give you the final season until soon. And yeah, it got obliterated by a lot of things like writer strikes and stuff. But but for me, and it, just to the point of the question, I enjoyed my second watch of Lost and actually found it more fun to watch on a second watch because I was just wikiing everything that came up. It was enjoyable for that reason for me. Some shows you're not Wikipediaing everything you watch in Game of Thrones because there's not that many questions really, but yeah. Season 2 of House of the Dragon was uneventful. Yeah, a lot of people say that. I just think people. I think I've seen a couple of things on this subject. A lot of people don't. I don't really want to spoil too much about season 2 because it's only just come out, but so I guess we won't touch on any specifics. But I don't think it was uneventful at all. I think people just can't handle when a fucking dragon doesn't blow up something. And the story was about 2 people having a conversation instead. Everyone wants there to be sword fights. Every episode needs to have like a sword fight and a dragon doing something, because the highs in those episodes, and I've just watched the whole of Game of Thrones again as well, and it becomes the final couple seasons, season 6 and 7 so far, have these like horrible. It's almost like watching a trailer for a movie. The music is even similar. These like crazy big bloated moments that are just heavy music and like fast cuts and explosive action for like 10 to 15 minutes. And it happens a lot. And it's because they started to, people were like only tweeting about, oh, when Hardhome and when John fights the fucking thing, and when it became like all these moments that were the things that people remembered. So they started focusing on making sure that every episode had one of those moments, or every few episodes there was like a moment where the fucking Sept of Baelor blows up. And but the way they edit them is completely different to the way they edit everything else. And this is probably just my editor brain kicking in a lot of the time, but you can tell that they were aiming for, you just get these fucking like completely different, just directed and edited in a completely different way moments. that just start coming into the show, and I find it really jarring. Even though, as a standalone thing, those moments are very good. There's one that is edited completely different, but is an exception that proves the rule, maybe, or just disproves me being full of shit, or proves me being full of shit. But there's one where Sam Tarly is in the Citadel training to become a maester, and he's shoveling shit and delivering food constantly in wretches, and it just is like a very quick paced editing thing, and it's quite fun to watch. It's kind of gross, but like the way that it's made is really interesting. It's a fun edit. You can go and Google just Sam cleaning up, I guess, in the maesters thing. But it's the way that it's edited is completely fucking different to everything else in the whole fucking show, and they start propping up a lot more. And I've noticed on my second watch through that every few episodes there's one of these completely different edited moments that is entirely designed to be a fucking hardcore Twitter hype machine. It's just designed to just make people froth at the mouth and go crazy because this fucking hyper shit moment happened. And they're actually edited like trailers. When you look at Hollywood movie trailers, fast cuts, loud music, boom, dun 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 dun, boom, dun 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 dun, boom, dun 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 dun. They all have that same soundtrack to them. The Ice King is fucking moving to. They're fighting. The Battle of the Bastards is doing this. These guys are fighting this. These dragons are fighting this. These ships are fighting. This is doing this. They're all edited in the same way. And I'm like, oh fuck, they started doing this in every single fucking episode, because they needed everyone to be losing their shit on Twitter every week. And it's actually kind of cheap when you compare it to the earlier seasons of Game of Thrones that didn't need that to happen, and yet people were tweeting about it every week, everywhere. Anyway, because it was just so well written and so well presented and so well paced and so well everything. And it's just the natural entropy of the way, things go. And I think House of the Dragon Season 1, I think it's just it's well presented, and because it's a return to form of the general feeling you got from Game of Thrones, everyone was like, oh, it's not season 8. Oh, thank God it's not season 8. It's better than season 6, 7 and 8, I think, of Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon Season 1. There's some really good moments in season 6 of Game of Thrones, which puts me on the fence. A lot of people really, really dig season 6 of Game of Thrones. I think there are some fucking wicked moments in season 6 that really elevate it, but overall it isn't that great. And House of the Dragon is different. House of the Dragon's main problem in both seasons is pacing, overall pacing. But I also saw this theory, and I didn't even think of this until this guy pointed it out, and I don't know if he probably just stole it from somewhere, but he was saying that House of the Dragon has this problem in that they don't pair up people. Everyone's very samey because it's only concentrating on like 2 or 3 houses. So you've got all these Targaryens and some High Towers and a couple of other people, but you're not really jumping around the world as much. So you don't have a lot of other people. There's like no Starks. There are no Freys. You're not spending much time in Essos and seeing all these Dothraki and stuff. You're really just in the houses and in the halls and stuff with just Targaryens all the time, and some like Valyrians and stuff, and they're but they're all essentially just high lords in houses talking about a civil war. But in Game of Thrones, they paired people up, and you got these really weird pairings. You got Jaime and Brienne traveling around. You got the Hound and Arya traveling around, and then they'd mix and match them. You'd get Tyrion and Varys traveling around. Then you'd grab Tyrion and give him to Jorah, and them two would go on a little adventure together. And you always had these two pairings, and you would see how these two characters that are very different, that we've come to know, react and act and bounce off of one another. And that was the whole show. There was no fucking, nothing else was happening. There wasn't this dun, 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 dun. It becomes that a little bit towards the end. But the majority of the episode is just concentrating on jumping between these duos that were foils to one another, and then watching them go on a travel over the course of the thing. He makes the point of like Arya and the Hound. In the books, you don't follow them because who cares? They're not doing anything. You just see them leave and see them when they arrive a book later. But in the show, you've got actors who are paid and they're contracted to a certain amount of hours and stuff, so you have to give them something to do. So they just gave Arya and the Hound this whole adventure, and it's one of the best bits of the show. Every time it would cut to Arya and the Hound, it was a great scene. The chicken scene that we watched earlier on. And it was a really good point. The guy it was like a TikTok guy. I don't know his name, but I watch his videos from time to time when he comes up, and whatever he's talking about is usually far more knowledgeable than like what I'm doing right now. But they don't do that in House of the Dragon, and I think that he's right. I think that it suffers a lot from that. And one of the things I noticed that I do enjoy about House of the Dragon is how captivating some scenes are. And it's usually a scene where there's only 2 people, maybe 3 in a room, and they're just having like a one-on-one. The scene with Rhaenyra and Alicent, there are lots of them, but there was one towards the end of season 2 where they're just, I found it to be a really, you're like really interested and really grabbed, and some of it is to do with the acting and some of it is just you're waiting to see the outcome and stuff. But there are these moments where they have these really captivating scenes where they don't really always, there isn't always something happening exactly. It isn't like a dragon fight or something, but they have a lot of captivating scenes in there. And I have subtitles up. I can't watch things without subtitles because I can't hear it, but I also get the added benefit of when you have subtitles on the screen, you're really reading the writing as well. You don't always read the writing when you're just listening to the person deliver the lines, but for me, when I have the subtitles up, a lot of the time I'm essentially dual watching. I'm watching the thing, and I'm watching and listening and watching the actors and interested in the set and the dresses and all that kind of stuff. And then I'm also reading the way someone wrote it down on a script. And I think that the writing, I think a lot of the dialogue is really well written. I also don't know the House of the Dragon. I read Game of Thrones when I watched it, but I've not read House of the Dragon or whatever it's called. And I don't know, man. I feel like people get really hung up on if there's not enough action or they don't have those big explosive moments, because you become addicted to them. You want another dragon fight. You want another, like, there was a couple of scenes in this season and in the first season. In the first season, there's the scene with Vhagar and the little kid on his smaller dragon and shit. You become addicted to those. Like, you want more. Like, oh, give me that scene. Oh, I was so high on that fucking the end of that episode. And then you don't get it for 4 episodes because everyone's just talking and chatting shit. But they're not. I think the problem is they're not paired up in the way that they were in Game of Thrones. It's just a bunch of old people in a room talking about politics. But if you actually look at what they're saying and watch the actors deliver some of those lines, for me, I find it to be very interesting. I love the sets. I love the fucking outfits, dude. Whoever is dressing these people is a genius. Some of the shit, the way they do her hair so it looks like a fucking the back of a dragon. You get these shots of the back of their fucking, they like braid her hair into these long braid, and then it cuts to the back of a dragon and it's all spiked up and dude, I love all that stuff. I don't find it to be slow. I don't find shows like that to be slow. That show's supposed to be a drama. It's about the characters and it's about their civil war and it's about what these characters will do. What are they doing? Where are they going to go? What is he saying to her? What is she saying to him? What was that little look there that they gave one another? And there are points where you just sit and there are scenes where I'm captivated by just performances. And I love that. For me, that makes it not boring. And everyone's waiting for something to happen. I fully agree that there are pacing issues, but I don't think they're that bad. I think this is mostly people who just can't wait for another dragon fight, getting lumped in with people who can see the pacing issues for what they are. And the pacing issues are the fact that they're trying to tell a narrative story from a book which is like a history book, right? The book that this is based off of was just George R.R. Martin dumping a bunch of history into a book. So it doesn't really pace. It doesn't tell like a story. It's written as if it was a book in history that is written from like a third-hand perspective from someone who's telling the story. So it's like an unreliable narrator. And then the House of the Dragon is not told that way, so they have to pace it like a TV show. So now they've got to take this kind of like history book and turn it into a narrative that has all these story arcs that happen in 4 seasons, I think they're doing of it. So they have to split this thing up into 4 seasons that have beginnings and ends with whole story arcs and character arcs and moments and highs and lows and things like that. So it's a really tough job for them to pace, which is why you end up with the end of season 2. Like the last episode is just a trailer for season 3. And I get it. I fully agree with it, but I don't think it's as bad as everyone says. It's just like it doesn't feel like a lot happens in the overall scheme of things. And when you compare it to especially early seasons of Game of Thrones, where people were dropping like flies, and it would change the entire board, the Game of Thrones that they were playing would change in a death. They'd have just a shocking death moment or a shocking red wedding moment that would just completely shift the entire perspective and the entire game that they were playing. And you don't get that in House of the Dragon, because how could you? Your story's over. If someone wins this war, the story's over. There's nothing left to tell. Even though I kind of know what vaguely what happens, you sort of just can't. So I think that even though season 2 is paced worse than season 1, and I don't think season 1 is paced very well either, I didn't find it boring. I didn't find it like... I didn't honestly find that it lulled or anything. It's just that you ended up with this thing. I almost wish what they had done is just more distinctly paced it in a way that was like one episode would be action and another episode would just be setup, action, but they didn't. They kind of, it's just all over the place with that. I think that would have been a lot more enjoyable to watch. Like, and this is a bit of a spoiler, like Aemond just destroys an entire town at one point off screen. Huh? Fucking show me him flying on a dragon and obliterating an entire city. What do you mean I hear about it from someone? I mean, budget and CGI. This show has a lot more CGI as well, because there's dragons in every fucking scene. Loads of dragons and stuff. But yeah, I don't know if it's like, the thing is, people are kind of like shit talking the pacing and that, and I'm like, I think you guys need to calm down. There's a lot more to this show than just making sure that all the pieces move around this board. Like, just look at the characters. Take a fucking moment to just watch, to look at them. Look at everything about them. Look at the outfits. They're way better than Game of Thrones. The outfits on these people in this show are unreal. And they're all thematic, and they've all got all these meanings to them. They're wearing these fucking little things that have little star things on them that mean some bullshit. It's crazy. And just watch them interact with each other. It's nicely written. The character interaction and the choices that they make as their characters is very fun to watch, and then watch them react and change and stuff. Alright, I'm sorry I'm missing all these subs, but you know I'm like, if I start talking, as soon as I stop, I'm Joe Biden. I can't remember what I'm doing. Quark, thank you for the 14. Sean, I miss you. Yeah, I'm feeling alright. I've got a lot of medicine in me. Mathis, how you doing? Yeah, man. I don't know. I don't find that it... I think a lot of people get hung up on the fact that there isn't as much action in it. I miss seeing the behind the scenes manipulation by Littlefinger and the spider and stuff. Yeah. It's annoying that Laris just does waltz into a thing and talks about stuff. I think we do need to see more about how he's working. There's a lot of like... I like the idea that he can turn into a rat. They always show a rat and then he has done something. And I'm like, is he the rat? Is he warging? What is this? What can House Strong do? Are they old blood? Do they have that ability? What's going on? Why is there always rats? And then him? Is it just a metaphor to just how rats are in and it's corrupt, or is he actually the rat? Why is there always a rat and then he's done something? What is it? No, I fully agree, and I think that they've missed where Game of Thrones. They've improved on Game of Thrones in some ways. I think they've improved on Game of Thrones, especially the ending. But like, if you look at the outfits and the sets and stuff, it's beautiful. It's really well done for a TV show. They've got a nice budget, but it's still they've got a budget, but they've got time constraints, and it's hard to do that kind of medieval, set piece. But like, yeah, they're missing that kind of dynamic. They're missing the Littlefingers and the Varys, and they're missing everyone. They aren't concentrating on many other characters, because you're only concentrating on the characters. There's so many characters in these 2 or 3 houses that they're focusing on. So you'll only get 1 or 2 characters that are not really like a Targaryen or a Valerion or whatever. And it's they definitely miss out on some of the. The thing is, if you actually break down Game of Thrones, if Game of Thrones was replaced, if all the characters were replaced by the same house, if we were just following the Starks, but you had the same scenes, you'd be way more bored than House of Dragon. The thing that made it fun is that you would jump it was a smorgasbord of different characters from different houses and different areas of the world interacting with one another constantly. So you'd get this character and put him there, and this character and put him over there, and this one and this one and this one and this one and this one, and then you'd fight the Night King for a minute, and you'd come back over here and just see what the fuck is Tyrion doing? Let's put him in fucking Essos. But actually, all they were doing was just sitting around chatting as well. For a lot of the show, just a bunch of people sitting around talking. But it's interesting because they're all different people, whereas in House of the Dragon, they're all the same person, because they're all just a Targaryen on one side or a Hightower on the other. They're just 2 teams. Whereas in Game of Thrones, everyone was fucking everywhere doing everything. So that variety is actually a trick in Game of Thrones in a way. But you felt like you were getting tricked into a lot more variety of things happening. Whereas in House of the Dragon, it feels like you're just moving from one room of the same castle to the other, while more people are having conversations about things happening in that castle. In Game of Thrones, even though you were just moving from one group to another, having conversations about what's happening in the world, it felt like more because you were moving from these strange locations. Game of Thrones is constantly changing how it looks as well. One minute you're in a dark castle in King's Landing, next minute you're in a fucking warm climate in Essos in Marine, next minute you're in this fucking blue lit fucking black and white wall shot because they're all standing on the wall and it's snowing everywhere, or in Winterfell or something, and it just bounces between these things, so you get these completely different feels when you're moving. Whereas in House of the Dragon, you just go from one castle to another castle to another castle to another castle to another castle. I get it, I understand all of the criticisms, but I think that people are like way too hung up on them. This show is fucking banging, dude. We need to stop tearing down these. Everyone needs to shut the fuck up. Everyone's got a fucking opinion. It's always negative, man. Like, dude, I don't know why anyone makes TV at all anymore. No wonder we got so much shit TV. I don't think I could be bothered to just keep putting out good shows and everyone's like, yeah, it was alright, but the pacing. Dude, this thing is the best thing that's been on this year. It's the only good thing that's been on all year. And we're going to fucking shit on it? It would be lucky we ever get another TV show again. Everyone puts out good TV shows and everyone's just like, oh, fucking shit, you were not good pacing. What do you know about pacing? The fuck do you know about pacing? You're an accountant. Shut the fuck up and watch your TV show and enjoy it. It's actually good. Hi, Kaio. Thanks for the 56, my friend. Yeah, Sean, yeah. It seems like there'll be more variety, yeah. I think, again, they're caught between the source material and presenting a TV show as well. It's probably really difficult to adapt that book, The Silmarillion. My brother-in-law says that he wishes the characters in Season 2 of House of the Dragon were a little more conflicted instead of sort of all good. Yeah, I mean... They try to concentrate a lot on conflict, like... They even have Kristen Cole be kind of conflicted by the end of this season. Alicent goes through that whole thing. There aren't as many just straight up nasty evil characters. Like in Game of Thrones, you had Ramsay Bolton. He was such a fucking piece of shit. You had Joffrey. Even Tywin, you get this sense that none of them know they're evil, which is a nice thing. I think maybe Ramsay Bolton is aware that he's evil. But, yeah, there aren't that many outright nasty pieces of shit. They're all kind of good. I struggle to really think of any of them as particularly evil. But they're all deluded, aren't they? That's the point. They're all tricked, and I guess there isn't many people to rally around behind hating. Laris is pretty gross. They kind of make him gross with the foot thing too. Rings of Power. Yeah, I watched the Rings of Power and I felt nothing while watching it. I think when I watched it though, I don't remember. I'm sure some of you will remember because I probably spoke about it on stream, but I think I was like dying. When did that come out? Rings of Power. Did that come out like when I broke up with Emma? When did that come out? Because I remember being like a numb human. Like I had doubled my dosage of antidepressants and I just was not a human being. Because everyone had like such massive opinions on it and I just didn't care. But like sometimes I can tell that it's just because I'm seeing the world from behind a pane of glass. And it's drugs. It's because I'm on antidepressants or something, or I'm like literally in a mental breakdown. I don't know, but I remember watching it and not having a particularly strong opinion on it. I enjoyed it fine, but I'm also not really much of a Lord of the Rings guy. September 2022, I wasn't human then. I wasn't human. I was just, especially if that was, and it would have come out, what was it, 6 episodes? Did it all come out at once? Or was it out weekly? Yeah. I enjoyed it, but like I don't remember having much of an opinion on it. I don't remember it being like anything that made me feel like wow. I remember thinking it felt like everything felt too pretty. It doesn't make, that person does not feel like Galadriel to me at all. And from what I understand, it's so painfully different the way that she is from what she should be. It's like it's so horribly inaccurate to the source material, right? Rings of Power. But I don't really know much about Lord of the Rings. It's never been a thing that I've gone on a deep dive of. Every now and then I've sort of looked up some stuff about it. I liked the movies and I read the books when I was a teenager and really enjoyed them. I watched them all not too long ago, around the same time. I think it was when Rings of Power came out, something like that. But I sort of nothinged it. I sort of nothinged the show because I'm not that invested in Lord of the Rings, so I didn't take any of it personally when it was presented incorrectly or whatever. It was a pretty Amazon show. It was easy enough to watch. But yeah, I imagine if I liked Lord of the Rings, it would have pissed me off. But because I don't care about Lord of the Rings lore that much, I wasn't bothered about it. And I'll watch this. I felt the same about the Wheel of Time. I enjoyed the Wheel of Time. I watched the 2 seasons of that, and I enjoyed it just fine. I don't know what it's doing wrong. The same with Rings of Power. I don't know what it's doing wrong, and in my obliviousness, I'm able to actually enjoy it. But I think if I knew what they were doing wrong, it would piss me off, right? I love Wheel of Time. I love Rings of Power. Yeah, but you skip through cutscenes in games, so you're not going to be my first port of call for when it comes to. I need a good barometer of someone with good opinions on stories. Hi, Lollip, by the way. How are you doing? I actually take TV serious. Yeah, because there's no one monetizing you while you're watching it, I guess. Yeah, no, I enjoyed Wheel of Time more than Rings of Power. I think I enjoyed the second season of Wheel of Time more. First season was like weird and jarring, and the second season felt more cohesive, but I don't really remember very well. It's another one where I just put it on and watched it, and just sat there and ate my dinner and watched it, and I didn't really think much about it. Sometimes I will watch a show and I will engage my brain fully. Engaging my brain fully with a TV show is a bit dangerous for me though, because I can engage the whole thing. Like, I know how stuff is made. I'm an editor, so I really see the fucking... It's like watching the Matrix Code of editing for me sometimes, and I really have to pick and choose my... Because I can't enjoy it properly if I watch a show like that. So I really have to disengage sometimes and just like quietly watch TV and eat my dinner and just be like, ha ha ha, he said that. Oh, look at the pretty dragon. Wow, she's doing magic. And I think that's how I watched Rings of Power and the Wheel of Time. But I enjoyed them fine. I'm in love with, what's her name? The Gone Girl? Rosamund Pike. I'm incredibly biased towards Rosamund Pike, who is the witch or whatever, the mage in this thing. I'm fully in love with her. I love everything. The Aes Sedai, yeah. But I don't know anything about the Wheel of Time books. I hope to one day read them. I kind of hope that this show doesn't, because it seems like the type of thing... There's no way this show is doing them justice. But they seem... It seems like my shit completely. I would love to read the books. There's just so many of them. Like, every Brandon Sanderson I kind of go to look at, I'm like, oh, I can't commit to this. One day I hope I get to the point where I get back into reading again. I read so much as a kid. I was like a little fucking Harry Potter kid trapped in a fucking bedroom, and I wasn't allowed out of it. So all I did was read books that my uncle gave to me, and I was completely at the mercy of whatever he brought me. And predominantly he would bring me Stephen King, Dean Koontz, and every now and then he'd bring me just something completely random, like a Lord of the Rings. Like, he brought me The Hobbit once. But I think if I could go back in time and drop books off at my window, my own window, as a 10 through early 20s, I would drop off some Brandon Sanderson books and some Robin Hobbs, because I didn't really read a lot of fantasy as a kid. I started reading fantasy in my like mid-20s. Game of Thrones and stuff. I read a few. I read Lord of the Rings and some major fantasies, but I didn't know where to look for them. It was a bit like my story with Final Fantasy, in that I just had no idea they existed, really. But I think I would have loved to have read some of them. I read nothing but fantasy now, but I read much slower, so I read almost nothing anymore. I just started the second set of John Gwynne books, the Faithful and Fallen books, but whatever the second series of that he did is called. It's set like 100 years after those ones. I loved those. The Faithful and the Fallen books were like, I fucking just ate them up. But yeah, I would like to read The Wheel of Time. I'm hoping that one day I get back into reading, or I don't know, I'm hoping that one day I fall out of love with TV and iPhones and computers, and I return to nature and go and sit in a field and read a book. Or a lot of my reading I got done when I was younger was commuting. I did a lot of commuting. I worked in London in my very late teens and early 20s, and I would get, that was like 45 minutes to an hour on a train in the morning, and then again in the afternoon. Plus I would read at night for a lot longer. I'd read for like half an hour at least, because I was very insomniac, so I'd get like half an hour of reading in at night, and that could go up to 6 hours of reading. You know, I would just read because it would make my eyes hurt. Reading a lot makes my eyes hurt, which forces me to close them, and then it helps me fall asleep. I don't know how to describe that. And if I'm reading fiction, it activates the correct side of my brain that lets me fall asleep. If I'm sitting there thinking about my taxes, I'll never fall asleep. So I would do a lot of reading, and when I was younger, in my teens, I just spent all my life in my bedroom reading books. And I want to, if I get back to that one day, what I would like to do, I think, is read like a Wheel of Time level book, because there's so many of them. They're just enormous, aren't they? But I know that if I start it now, like, it took me all of last year to read. I think I read 4 books last year. An abysmally low number. One of them was not an autobiography, but a sort of a similar, an autobiographical kind of thing. Yeah, just like not on it, and I'd love to be. I'd love to be on it. Yeah, the Wheel of Time and that kind of stuff. But I know I'll start it and then it will be, I'll literally, it would take me probably a decade to read the Wheel of Time, and I don't want, and I'll get bored of it. I don't want to start reading some Warhammer 40k books, and it's just it's another one. Everyone's like, you've got to read the Horus Heresy and then go from there, and you're like, okay. How many books? On 40k is the amount of books there are. Oh, I thought that's the year it was set. No, 40k is the minimum amount of books you need to read, and they're all novels. Storms of Steel. Have you read that? No. No, last year I read 2 of the Thrawn books, which are the first Star Wars novels I've ever read. And I read 1.5 of a book that I was reading. That was the Prince of Thorns second series, whatever that fucking series is called, The Broken Empire. There's a second series in that same kind of setting, which is called I can't remember what the first one's called. I haven't quite finished the other one I'm on the Wheel of Ostheim or something it's called. But what I've tried doing, I've never gotten on with audiobooks before. I don't, if you listen to audiobooks and you say, I'm reading, if you say I started reading Warhammer 40k books, but you're actually listening to audiobooks, that's not what I'm talking about. You shouldn't, I feel like people shouldn't be allowed to say that. You're not reading it, you're listening to it. Say I'm listening to this book, because it confuses me so much. You can bang out listening, that's like watching TV. Listening to an audiobook is not reading a book. And it doesn't count. It annoys me so much when I'm like, yeah, I only read like 4 books last year. And they're like, oh, really? I read like 72. And you're like, fuck, dude, really? And they're like, yeah, just get an Audible thing. And I'm like, oh, go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself. No, I've never listened to audiobooks. I don't like it. Most of them sound like shit. When I'm listening to stuff, I like it to have more noise. I need the sound, I need the music, and I need the sound effects, and I need it to not just be a guy being like, there was 7 people in the field. A child ran up to Anaccio and handed him a flower. What's this, boy? Anaccio said down. Looking down, he recognized the boy had his own face. What? How can this be? The boy disappeared, exploding into a 1,000 pieces. And I'm like, I don't know why, I just can't get on with it. Sometimes they sound great. There's a guy that reads. Some of them sound great, some of them sound like shit. And it's the worst. But what I realize is sometimes I just need, I almost need something that, I don't want to read a thing when I'm falling asleep, but I also don't want to watch something while I'm falling asleep. And I was like, the only thing in the middle of that is an audio book. So I'm just going to start. So actually, so when I said I'm reading a book, that I'm actually listening to the John Gwynne book. I can't remember what it's called though. And it's annoying because I bought it. I bought it to read, but now I'm listening to it for free on Spotify. I'm trying to force myself though to enjoy them. I hate them. I don't like them. I don't find it immersive. It just annoys me. I just hear someone reading me a story and it pisses me off, and I wish that I could direct them to do it better. And all I can hear is them making mistakes and it being shit. And I'm like, you suck. You suck. Get better. That's all I can hear. And it pisses me off. And I'm a psychopath. Cheesiosaur, my friend, thank you for the 7 months. But I'm basically just trying to find, like, because I think it would be good for me to fall asleep to listening to an audiobook rather than actually reading one. Because when I'm reading an actual book, it's like bright and in my eyes and it wakes me up a bit. And like, you know, if I'm watching TV or I'm like watching something on the iPad or whatever. I mean, sometimes it doesn't, most of the time it doesn't matter, but there are nights when I've been really struggling to sleep lately and I'm just like listening to an audiobook instead. It's also good for cooking because I've been cooking batches of chili. And I need to figure out more stuff that's like chili that I can cook in batches, like jambalayas and stuff. But that takes an hour. A bit longer than an hour for me to make. And it's annoying. I don't cook. I've never cooked anything in my life. This is the first time in my life I've ever cooked anything. And it's chili batches of chili I've been making. They're coming out alright. But they take forever. It takes forever to cook stuff. It's one of the reasons I hate doing it. It's a waste of time for me. I can't taste it. It's a waste of time. There's no payoff. The only payoff is that it costs less. That's the only reason I'm doing it. But it takes like an hour. So like listening to the audiobook while I'm doing that is pretty good too, because I can just put it on and then go and cook. Because it's like you do chop this thing and then you put it in and you wait for 5 minutes, and you chop this other thing and you put it in and you wait, and then you add this and then you add this, then you have to make some stock and you put that in, and then you add in the meat and you've got to just move the meat around, prod it and move and cook it for a bit, and that takes 10 minutes, and then you got to wait 10 minutes and add another thing in, and wait 10 minutes and add another thing in, and like doing anything in that time is impossible. I can't come and sit at the computer and do something for 2 minutes and have to get back up. I can't put something on the telly, cook, go and sit down and watch 10 minutes and pause it, get up and cook, go and sit down. It drives me nuts. TikTok is okay for it, but the problem with TikTok is that like it's good for the 9 minutes, and then while you're actually doing the cooking part, it's just silent. Music is the other thing. Like music is pretty much my only option until I was like, oh, I'll the last batch I cooked and just listened to the audiobook, which is pretty good for it. So I'm finding ways to Have you heard about Instapot? It's throw everything and forget. Yeah, I have. I've heard about it. I don't really know the difference between Instapot and a slow cooker, and I looked into it, and then it was just a bunch of people arguing, where half of the people were like, it's a slow cooker, but it does it quicker. It's not exactly a slow cooker, but it can be used as a slow cooker, but it does what a slow cooker can do in 6 hours in 1 hour. And then there are people going, no, it's not good enough. It actually does it wrong. If you're going to do slow, your pressure cooker thing is going to be different, because the amount of time it takes, all of your heats have to be adjusted to a new type of thing. Instapot cooks from the bottom up, whereas a slow cooker, or whatever it's called, a pressure cooker, cooks from the sides as well. So they're not quite exactly the same, and I was just like, and I got overwhelmed. I just immediately got overwhelmed and just didn't, and I was like, okay, I don't care anymore. Because it's just a bunch of, it's basically when I ask chat something, that's what this became. When I'm just like, hey chat, do I go left or right in this game? And then every other comment says left and every other comment says right. And all those people start bickering and fighting, and I go, well, no one's giving me an answer, and now I don't even want to play the game anymore. I don't want an instant pot. I don't want a pressure cooker. I don't want a slow cooker. I don't want nothing. I just don't care anymore. I'll make it in a fucking pan. You've ruined it. You've all ruined it. There's an answer and none of you can give it. So you all suck. And obviously no one's going to give me the answer I need. And everything is ruined. Stop it. You're ruining it. You're ruining everything. You're spoiling it. And you started doing it immediately in here as soon as I said exactly what. So, yeah, I don't know which one I want. I don't know if I want an Instapot or not. I think I do, by the way. I think at the end of it, I've realised that I do want an Instapot, and I'll just figure out how to make stuff in that. But it's still pretty annoying because I looked up like an Instant Pot jambalaya recipe, and you still kind of have to fry everything before you put it in the pot anyway. So I was like, well, I mean, this is the same as cooking it on the hob. I don't know the difference. I still have to fry it on a fucking hob in the pan and then throw it in the pot at the right time. But I also, the thing is, I don't know anything about cooking. So I get a bit overwhelmed looking at recipes and stuff. Like sometimes I'll be reading a recipe and it will just go, so you just have to so you cut this up and you add it, you cut this up and you add it, you add this spice, you add this spice, then you saute the prawns. And I go, I don't know what saute means, and now I'm afraid of the whole thing because I don't know what that one thing means. It probably means I don't know what any of this means. Now that means I can't cook this and I'm scared. And then it will just do that, and then it will be another thing in there that's like, make sure you get it looking like this. And I'm like, no. I need it explained to me like I'm a child, not like I've been cooking for a long time and I've looked up a recipe online and now can follow. I need it to be explained to me like I have never cooked anything ever. And a lot of the stuff online that describes how you cook things that it is explained as if you have a basic knowledge of cooking, which I don't have. I need it to be like, I need to be handheld through this because I have never cooked anything ever. I'm literally starting to learn how to cook today. Exclusively because I just want to save money, and exclusively because it is one thing I have enjoyed about cooking batches of fucking chili up is how easy it is. Like the first day is like a whole effort of an hour of cooking. But then the next day, all I do is just chuck it in a pan and heat it up for 10 minutes and then make some pasta or rice and then just eat it. I just put it together. It's very easy to do. So it's like 1 day of effort, 3 days of zero effort. And it cost me a tenner. So I've got 10 days worth of food for 4 days worth of food for a tenner. So I've been doing that for the last I've lived off nothing but chili, which I can do. The good thing about being me is I don't care about how things taste, and I can eat the same thing every single day for a month. I can live like a prisoner pretty easily. My problem comes with I can't cook, so I end up just air frying chicken nuggets every day because it's the only way I know how to cook something. And really that kind of costs a bit of money because you're constantly having to replenish whole bags of stuff. I mean, I eat pretty cheaply, but I think this is better. Chili, yeah. Stew, I don't really like stew. Liam's on stew at the moment. He's been making. He bought a. I think he bought like a slow cooker or pressure cooker or whatever it's called, and he has been making stew. But I don't like liquid food. I don't really like wet food. It's too wet. But Brad, you made chili. You've been in chili all week. Yeah, but it ain't fucking sloppy and like liquid. So I don't really like stew very much. I could probably do it if I made stew every day. I could probably eat it, but it's not my jam really. What I'd rather is something like chili. Whatever is like chili. Curry would be great for me as well. Curry I could do. But I'm allergic to a lot of the stuff that goes in curries, and it's just kind of really annoying. I did a little brief Google the other day of like curries that don't have any maize or corn or whatever in it. It's just really hard because there's a lot of annoying ingredients as well. To make curry, you sort of, the startup is quite a lot because you have to buy all those like, you have to buy all of the what are the ingredients, like the cumin and shit, paprikas and all those kind of things. There's loads of those that you've got to buy. They last forever, but like the startup cost, the first batch cost is pretty high. But I'm very allergic to a lot of the stuff that goes in curries, and it's pretty hard to find every single ingredient that goes in a curry that doesn't have something that I'm allergic to in it. Even though it's totally possible, it's just almost not worth the effort. Because I have to source a lot of it from like online as well, so I can't just go to a shop and grab it off the shelf, which is so much easier and a little bit cheaper as well. So that's annoying. So that kind of knocks curry off the thing. I don't really like stew. Paella I could probably do. Send me the paella recipe. I'll try it. I need something that I can. What I need are advanced meals. So like a thing that I can cook up in a fucking great big pot, and then wrap it up and put it in the fridge, and then just spoon out of it every day, heat it up. That's what I want. Caribbean and Korean stews, yeah. Well, I want to do jambalayas. I've looked up jambalaya recipe, but it's just a bit annoying again, trying to get all this stuff. Exactly, yeah, curry paste, but find a curry paste that doesn't have maize and starch in it that's at my local shop. You can't. It's the most annoying thing. I tried. Curry was the second on my list. I was ready for it. You look like Finnish rapper Eggy Zulu. I don't know who that is. I don't think. Is he the guy that's on that one Tech 9 song? Worldwide Chopper. Oh no, he's Danish, isn't he, that guy? Never mind. Oh yeah, I do. I really look like him. You're right. Well done. Smashed it. That's me. That guy's Finnish? That guy's not Finnish. Have you ever heard the book, The Body Keeps the Score? No. Heyo. That guy ain't Finnish, bro. Paella is perfect for reheating. Yeah, great. Send me whatever recipe you've got. I'll give it a go. Yeah, anything like that I need. It's kind of rough trying to find something that is as easy to make as chili that does the same thing that I can make in advance and just heat up. Born and raised. Yeah, sure. Sure he is. Right, well, we've covered every topic that we need to. We've completely fully reviewed Game of Thrones and House of the Dragon. We've done a part review of Rings of Power. We've discovered I am Eggy Zulu. We've spoken about cooking. I think we've covered every topic there is. Now it's time for my review on immigration policy. My immigration policy is one that no one agrees with, and it's that everyone should leave the country except for me. Just leave me the fuck alone. Can everyone just leave me alone? That's my immigration policy. Done. Don't unsubscribe. No, dude, I'd open everything. I'd open every door. I don't care who comes in. Come on over. Do whatever the fuck you want. I don't give a shit. Let everyone in and do whatever the fuck you want. Creed have released, guys, dads, divorced dads. It's time for Divorced Dads. Human Clay Deluxe Edition, the remaster. It's out. It's here. Let's go, dude. Human Clay is back. Divorced Dad news. In Divorced Dad news, Creed have released the full 2024 remaster of Human Clay. That's my music sorted for the whole week. That's me done for the week. Also, speaking of Creed, my vinyl player has stopped working. It's really annoying. There's something wrong with the earthing, because it goes while I'm trying to a Native American chant. It immediately became Australian, Aborigine. It's perfect. What's that fucking thing called? Didgeridoo. Yeah, it's so annoying. But if I put my finger on one of the connectors on the back of the vinyl player, it sounds fine. So annoying. Ruin my life. Now I can't listen to vinyls in the morning. It's destroyed me. I don't know how to fix it. I've no idea how to go about it. Best. But Creed have released the digital deluxe edition Human Clay, B-sides, and another live thing. Check it out if you're divorced. Thanks, Dushko. Don't mind me coming in with a cheeky 69. Oh, don't mind if I fucking do. We've got a bunch of TikToks to watch. Should we watch those? No. Okay. It was listening to us. House of the Dragon. It was listening to us. That's so scary. This one was submitted by Nanak. We've got 21 of these to watch.
Quick filmmaking tip. Have you ever been on set and your tripod plate gets a little loose? Let's say you don't have a coin or a key or whatever this thing is. Just use your SD card. Pop it out of the camera, give it a quick twist.
Oh, we don't use that side of it. Oh, for
Pop it
fuck's
right back in
sake.
and happy filming.
Yeah. Oh, Christ. This one's from Palomar.
You never know the battles that people are silently fighting, but y'all are gonna know about mine. I'm not fighting anything silently. I'm fighting it at full volume, and everyone's gonna know how pissed about it I am.
Me complaining every day on stream about stuff that all of you are complaining about and feeling as well, but then asking you to pay me for it.
It's a pixie stick with CBD.
Dude, there's nothing worse than when you take some drugs and you can't get off the roller coaster. Oh, dude, you're on it and you don't know when it ends. Tick, 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 tick. When does this stop? When does it stop? When does it stop? Oh, the worst feeling. You're just at the mercy of it. This one's from Toodle and Sarah. There'll be some white women.
I sure hope nobody steals my pool water. Hey, who's that? Son of...
Don't drink that. It's got chlorine in it. You'll kill him. Tell him to stop. Game of Thrones hot takes. Dude, it was so listening. My phone was listening to our entire stream. Comes from Toodle. The tissue box is a tea holder. I mean, I don't trust it at all. That did not look stable whatsoever. The moment you sit down in that bed, it's over. You're scolding the fuck out of the back of your head. Yes, dear. I'll get the laundry. It's fine. You want me to make dinner tonight? Whatever you want.
I feel like the global perception of British man is very like, I'd like to buy you a drink if like you'd have me. We could go and row by the canal. That'd be really nice, you know. Or it's like, today we're going to be making an absolutely gorgeous lemon and herb butter, you know. Or it's like, hi, I'm Josh O'Connor, and this is what's in my bag. First up, a canoe. You know, or it's like, oh my days, like you look alright. You look fucking, I hate that hoodie. Take it off. You know, you look cool still. But actually, I'll tell you, like, what all men are actually like in England is this.
So triggering. It's so triggering because it's so true.
You know?
Yeah. Dating someone from another country is so annoying. Because they expect you to be like, they expect you to be dressed up like Mr. Darcy and show up with a fucking horse and carriage. The first time I've ever tried to do a horse and carriage, a fucking impression of a horse, apparently I can't do it. They expect you to show up on a fucking horse and carriage and be like, we're going for tea at the gardens, darling. We're going to go for tea at the gardens. You're never going to do that, you know? Or the first one that he did.
I feel like the global perception of British man is very like, I'd like to buy you a drink if like you'd have me. We could go and row by the canal. That'd be really nice.
That's the best. That's the closest you'll get from me, but it still won't even be that. Like you'll never get any one of these fucking things, and yet anyone from another country who's dating someone from England thinks that's what they're getting, and it's just so, no matter what, you're gonna let them down and they're gonna leave you, so don't bother. No matter what you do, you could still do everything right and still be like really, you know, a good guy. I'm a nice guy, but it's been destroyed. We can only date people from this fucking country. Because they'll be like, why aren't we, where's the horse and carriage? And there isn't. No one's ever done that. Ever. Oh, but what if we be one of the tropes that guy did? They don't exist. No one's ever done any of those things. The only type of bloke is the way blokes. And it's real. And it's like, no matter what, the first thing you'll do is let them down. So don't bother. Don't date anyone outside of the island. There's my immigration policy, and I stand by it. TV has ruined everything. All right, Sarah, that one's not playing. Don't know what it is. Next one from Sarah.
Was that baptised? Yeah. Was that not baptised? You were christened.
The problem when you're the other way round, if you want to date an English or a British girl, is you're fucking gonna get one of these. This is what most girls are like, you know? This is the other thing, is I'm trapped in this fucking country, and this is what's fucking on offer.
Wait, so like basically you just like you roll dice and think of it in your head? That's like a bit weird though, innit? Don't you just want to like go down to Weatherspoons and get a drink instead?
Yeah, we can do that, I guess.
I was younger. Was I baptised? Yeah. Was that? Not baptised, you were christened. Was that? Yeah.
Thanks, ma'am. You could have mentioned this before. Maybe I have got more in common with faith than I thought. Right, okay, so I've been baptised, I believe in God.
Well,
so I need to have a talk with Faith and ask her about what her beliefs are, because maybe I'm believing.
Well, maybe you are.
Maybe I'm believing. It's fucking horrendous. Yeah, you guys are fucked. If you're not from England, you don't know what the fuck she's saying. She's like bottom of the rung dregs of Newcastle. That's the accent you're getting. Absolutely no chance. That's the accent that I wish I could do, by the way. This is from Geordie Shore, which is me and my sister's favourite show. We used to watch it all the time because it's like watching. It's like being at a zoo. These fucking animals, dude. It's unbelievable. You're like, what the fuck? Why, man? Fucking why, fucking Newcastle, man. It's Davos's accent from Game of Thrones. That's the delay. Tune into D&D tonight where I can't speak.
I just heard that sound and it came from down the stairs.
Cooper, you are deaf. You're deaf.
Trying to gaslight his mum. Try to gaslight his mum so much. Hilarious.
I just heard that sound and it came from down the stairs.
Maybe he felt sounds though, right? Because people who are deaf, they do know when there's sound going on, because there's sounds are often accompanied by like rumbles and shit. You can hear stuff going on all the time because you can feel the rumbling, right? I feel like I would call that I heard something, the vibrations and things, yeah. Like, for example, my entire house is currently rumbling because a fucking giant, great big truck just rode past the foundations.
A guy who has a lazy eye, we call him Uzi.
You're fucking right, fucking mate. Let me fucking tell you about this fucking guy we call with a fucking lazy eye, mate.
Immediately went from Geordie to a deaf kid to Aussie, presumably.
I got a fucking guy who's a fucking lazy eye, mate. He fucking went down the fucking park and I saw him in the park with a fucking lazy eye, mate. And you're like, you're speaking so quickly. Everything sounds like a question.
A guy who has a lazy eye, we call him Uzi. Uzi looking at...
I worked on a building site and a bloke had one eye higher than the other. We called him Isaiah.
Being on a call with my...
Thank you so much. I've been reading it all day.
Guy at my wife's work had the nickname Hip Hip. His name was Hugh Ray.
I worked with an Indian bloke named Dipu, so we called him Winnie. Winnie Dipu.
This one's from Harambe. Christ.
Well, hello, new traveller. I ain't seen you around these parts.
I can't do that. It's 4 minutes long. Next, I ain't watching Trisha Paytas do the tavern wench meme. I'm not doing it. I'm not spending any of the rest of my... I'm almost 40. I haven't got long left. I'm not wasting it on this video. It's going to be a... What's that? Oh, what is that? I love it. I thought it was going to be... what are those grey... Big grey chinchilla? I thought it was going to be a fucking chinchilla. They just have a magpie? Fuck, dude. I want a magpie.
Oh my gosh, no!
The forbidden upside down cupboard.
Oh, good
Stop it!
Oh, fucking hell.
There's two of them. Oh my god.
What's happening?
What is?
Prince.
Prince.
Holy crap! Girly!
Oh.
Girly, what?
Is he having fun? Do birds know what they're doing? Can they have fun?
Oh my gosh.
Are birds conscious? Are they aware they're alive?
Girlfriend.
Are we just
Are you
projecting onto him what he feels like?
It's a hamster ball. I'll catch you. Oh. Holy.
Chicken baby, right around, right around. Flipped it. Oh.
Falling.
I love that these guys just create a cupboard for their bird and then just put it in there, and that's their entertainment for the evening. Don't need a TV.
This is my dragon, Teltharion, the Wing Beater. This is Merthra, Sky Splitter, and the pride of the sky, Karmanak, the Divine.
This is Max. We call him Death Breath because, well, there's two reasons really. This is Nipper. She's very affectionate, but watch your hands. And this is Saraka. I'm just kidding. That's Suze. Oh, you a cutie. Ah, you dickhead.
Yeah, because they'd just be dogs. They would just be your dog, wouldn't they? This is my dog. This is my dragon. He's called Bruce. The dragon
These
impression.
kids can't even mail a letter. Download a PDF and send it to one colleague. Make an Excel sheet that adds columns of cells. Tell me what kind of cable this is. Hook up a Bluetooth device.
I mean, it's good, Toodle, but don't you remember this trend? This is an old video, surely. 2 days ago? Is it back? Is this trend back?
What the hell is going on out here? What the hell?
Happening. He's fighting Fraser, the planet splitting in two. It's back. Okay.
You guys remember when society peaked and we had Optimus Prime doing a monologue over Lincoln Park?
Nothing's been the same since.
Nothing's been the same ever since.
I'm ahead of him. This one's from Nanook.
I'm going on vacation. I'm gonna see you next time, bro.
Alright, how long you gonna be going for?
It'll be a whole week.
This one's from Nixie. I mean, what the dude, seagulls suck. First of all, so drunk. Look at his face. So the most drunk face. Eyelids barely open. I remember when we went to America, and I was there, and my stepdad was there. This was like my mum. This was, I don't know. And we crunched up a load of Doritos and threw them over him on the beach. And it was like a scene from Alfred Hitchcock's The Birds. So many of them descended on him. We couldn't have predicted what we had done. They almost killed him. Me and my cousin brothers and my sister were like, ha 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 ha. Threw so much of it, dude. You know when you're a little kid and you immediately regret what you've done? You're like the Dreadfield. You're like, oh God, what have we done? It was. We thought it'd be like funny, like one of them would come down. We didn't expect what would happen to him. They almost killed him. It was horrific. The fucking sky darkened and just a billion seagulls descended on him. You couldn't see him. It was horrendous. He was like the nicest guy as well. Like never did anything. Never told us off or was never angry with us or never did anything like that. He was so pissed, dude. So pissed. It was from Shaz.
You feed them, you raise them, you send them to school, and they're still fucking stupid!
Oh my God, stop it. Cows are meant to be exceptionally dumb though, aren't they? Aren't cows like unbelievably stupid? I think I might have a couple in here to watch, but I haven't really been on TikTok much. We watched this one, Did we watch this?
Do you guys?
Oh, this is hilarious. My husband came home earlier and I wasn't done with karaoke. Dude, everything about this is so funny. First of all, the girls with their cup and their blanket is the funniest thing in the world. Every single girl in the world is now, you know. But girls when they're singing and then you catch them. Nothing worse, to be honest. Absolutely nothing worse than when you're proper trying, legit trying. And you think there's no one in the house. Everything about it makes me laugh so much. She's in a little blanket. It's so good. So good. Made me laugh so much. Oh, I just want this so badly. Look at this. How much is this table, Wormwood? What would you do with it, Brad? Play by myself, okay? But look, you got that little tray. Oh my god, I'd eat my dinner off of it. How much do you reckon it is? Link in bio, hold on. Modular table sign up list. Oh, it's just a sign up, doesn't tell me how much it is. Don't know. $5 easy. Min.
What they say? Hold on. Move your head. I'm trying to pronounce it. They say fuck. Hold on. I'm trying to sound it out.
But you're not sounding it right.
Fuck.
No. Say uncle.
No, they don't say uncle. They say fuck.
It rhymes with uncle. Funko.
Fuckle. That's what it's.
It don't. No. Fuck it. Don't say it. Now you got me saying it because I'm getting pissed off. You saying the fucking wrong. Saying the fucking word wrong. It don't say nothing about no fuck or nothing. It's saying Uncle Funko.
The reason this made me laugh so much when I watched it is it reminds me of how this is me playing a fucking game, and you people are winding me up because you've been nothing but telling me all the answers all day where to go, and I don't want it. And then I'm like, how do I actually do it? And you guys, it's almost as if you purposefully try and mispronounce it.
Bitch, if you can't get it, if you can't say it, don't say it. Don't say that shit.
And then I'm there.
You're pissing me off.
You're pissing me off. And you've turned me into this.
Say it so I can get right your damn mouth.
Fuck. What they say?
Dude. Now I know how it feels. Now I know why you do it, because that was hilarious.
Other question. The nicknames Cheesemongers, Cherry Pickers, Bob's Own, the Emperor's Chambermaids, and the Immortals are or have been used for which groups of men?
You Miss Bright, homosexual?
No, they're regiments in the British Army. You'll be very upset when you miss. Other question.
For now. From now. That's what it means.
The nicknames Cheesemongers, Cherry Pickers, Bob's Own, the Emperor's Chambermaids, and the Immortals are or have...
It's like that fucking clip. I can't recreate it. But there is a sound where and it's from Life on Mars, or whatever the sequel was to Life on Mars, with that guy, Glenn something, or whatever his name is. And he's listing off all of the things, because it's in the 80s or whatever, you know? And it reminds me of that.
Girls will see this blanket and say, hell yeah, because you might think that they like cute stuff, but they actually like castles and skeletons.
Here's the thing. The only reason I stopped this is I need you, chat, to answer this question. This is them. Where do you get this blanket? From this page? This is the company. I wanted to go there. Can I get them shipped to the UK? Los Angeles. It looks so sick. Some of these, look at this one. Just check my address, it isn't on this page somewhere. Oh. Gotta be careful on websites like this because sometimes it just comes up and is like, get a delivery to your address, you know, and it like tries to autofill all your shit. $150 though. It's hilarious to me that that reset itself and actually worked. I just clicked one button and the donation goal appeared on the screen. It's fucking, this is sick, dude. $150 is actually pretty good, isn't it? What is that in UK? £120. This is sick. It looks like Loop Hero. Gotta put something here. This is just here because otherwise it's just a radiator. And I was like, I guess I'll just put that there until I hang it up. And I was like, it's annoying because there's a radiator here. But what if I hang? What if we hang? What if we hang something?
No, Brad, we're not gonna do that for you. We don't like you.
Why would you say that? Why would you be so hurtful and say something like that to me? I've been nothing but good to you, chat. When have I ever said anything nasty to you or wronged you in any way? And you would say something like that to me? Unbelievable. Unbelievable the way you treat me. You better show up tomorrow for D&D and be ready with your coins. I said tomorrow, Horace. Can't follow simple instructions. Thank you for the cold hard cash. Abbott. Toss a coin to your witcher, oh valley of plenty. Oh valley of plenty. Right, who's showing up tomorrow? Show of hands. Who's showing up tomorrow? Show of hands. Shadow, you're too early. What are you doing? This is far too early, Shadow. I can't, and it kills me. Shadow, do you want these to count? Do you want these to count? All right, any subs Shadow gives me now count towards tomorrow's wheel. Let me write it down. Hold on. Any subs he gives me tomorrow is the beginning of tomorrow's game. I mean today. Hold on, let me write it down. Any subs he gives me today count towards tomorrow. Alright, I'm gonna write down Shadow plus 10, one roll. Oh, for Christ's sake, I just wrote down 1. Plus 7. Alright, no, alright, it's plus 17. Shadow the Red God, plus 17. You know I'm going to open this document tomorrow morning, just as I'm starting the stream. I'll be a little bleary-eyed, a little tired. I will have just got back from a walk with Liam. And I'll be starting everything up. Oh, I've got to start the dice roller up. I've got to set the fucking title and I'll open this up and it'll just say Shadow plus 17 and I'll have no idea what it means. I will have no idea what it means. Okay, tomorrow we're going to play Twitch Plays D&D, The Legend of Gary. The second lieutenant, Mole Moth, is about to attack Gary. The first lieutenant was called Shadow the Wreck God. I say it like that because I wrote it Shadow the Wreck space capital G God in the game. Canonically in game, it's Shadow the Wreck capital G God as opposed to Shadow the Wreck God. Shadow plus 17. Shadow's got you 1 spin at the beginning of the game. And we'll see how you do as you take on Mole Moth as a group. Twitch Plays D&D tomorrow. Everybody say thank you to Shadow. Thank you, Shadow. I'll see you tomorrow for that. If you'd like more D&D, head on over to Table Story tonight. We're going to be playing D&D with a lot of players on Table Story. The second episode of Oracle's Rest. But really, it's the first episode because I didn't do anything last week. I'm going to go and just get a little bit of time to relax because as much as it seems like I'm feeling much, much better, really, I mean, I am, but it's because I'm medicated. And I don't want to burn myself out too hard, even though I know you're probably thinking, why is he doing short streams still? And, well, you get 2 streams from me today, okay? But I do need energy for the second one tonight. Got a D&D show to run tonight and one for you tomorrow. Please tune in tomorrow if you want to watch D&D here. You can play Twitch Interactive D&D tomorrow here. 2 p.m. UK time, 9 a.m. Eastern. And on Table Story tonight, if you want to watch it on Table Story. They just chatted and got into a love triangle with a building, yeah. Yeah, tune in tonight to see if more bullshit happens or if they actually get anything done. And yeah, thanks for watching. I know we just hung out a little bit and not really much was going on. I'll probably do a game vote on Monday. And we'll crack on with something new Tuesday. So I'll see you then for that. Otherwise, I'll see you around. Thanks for watching, boys. See you tomorrow or tonight on Table Story. Peace.